All right, team, so up next we have the seated shoulder press. Now, I've given you this side-on view so you can see. Depending on your bench is going to really depend on the angle of which you're doing this seated shoulder press. Some benches will be able to go, this one I can't even push it any further. Some benches will pretty much go straight up and down. Some benches will come back on this slight angle. Keep in mind for me, as we start to come back on the angle a little bit more, you should be able to press more because we're starting to incorporate more pec, more of our chest in the movement, okay? If it's completely straight up, then it is going to be a lot more shoulder. However, you're probably going to notice there's, of course, increased instability, but at the same time, there's going to be less pec. So, I've got this position here so you can see it on the side. What I'm going to do is just also very quickly position it on a 45. But with our setup, very important, guys, that when we are setting up, if you want to have that seat on a slight angle, if your gym equipment permits, then by all means go for it. As we come back, just like our bench press, those shoulder blades are pinned back and locked on. There is a slight angle. We're not pressing down and trying to flatten that back, because what's that going to do? It's going to start to internally rotate the shoulders depending on how straight up and down it is. So always just think kind of 2 or 3 points of contact, head, shoulders, and butt. From there, guys, what I'd be recommending is having those feet a little bit out and forward, a little bit out in front of you, because just like our bench press, as we go through the push, we want to be pushing through those feet as well. Make sure we're getting that kinetic energy starting from the floor and pushing out, keeping everything locked on. Don't just have them kind of sitting there and moving around and doing whatever as you press up. That's where our stability is in those legs. So we're pushing through them. Now, as we go to take up the weights, especially if they're heavier as well, guys, you want to kick them up onto the shoulder, then come back in. Now, as we press up, you're going to notice for me, there's a little bit, maybe not from that angle, but there's a little bit of a 45-degree angle. I'm not straight out on the side. Now, there is nothing wrong with going straight out on the side if your shoulder mobility permits. But at the same time, I do prefer to be in this stronger position for myself with that slight 45. All right, so what I'm going to do is just quickly change the angle so you can have a bit better shot. So we're just going to cut that 45 degree, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So again, we kick up onto the shoulder, we're coming back, and then we're pressing. I'm pushing through those feet, and you'll see, guys, I'm going straight up to the head. I've got this slight little angle with the elbows. I'm not going completely out to the side. But remember, guys, because I'm leaning back there, that I am going to be getting a little bit more chest. If I was sitting completely upright, or if I was seated with no backrest, of course, I'm going to be pressing straight up, less pec, more of that anterior lateral delt, okay? Front and side. So that will be our press. Make sure you get into a safe position, guys. Make sure that when you are pressing as well, you're not overarching through the back. Those hips aren't shooting up or out forward. We'll make sure we're in that nice tight position, always keeping shoulder depressed, using that lat for stability, driving up, making sure we're not coming into elevation.